Hello, this is the Green Goblin construction figure, they call it. So for the sake of scale, minifigure not included, but it's a pretty big one. This is one of two things like it that released on April 1st. Not an April Fool's joke, but released on April 1st, 2024. I paid $35 US for it. It comes with 471 pieces, and I built it live over on Twitch. I wanted to do this one, but I wasn't certain that this was the one that y'all wanted me to do the most. So I asked when I did the thoughts video, just general thoughts over on the JANG channel, when this and the Spider-Man or the Iron Spider were both unveiled, and almost everybody said, yeah, get this one. I was like, yeah, okay, good. Because I wanted to, because it's different. It costs more than the standard figures of this style, but that's because it also comes with the glider here. So it comes with a bunch more pieces, and it just seemed more interesting, more different. First impression is pretty good. The build is similar to the others in the way that you do, especially the body as well as the limbs to a great degree. This one does use a lot of the corner tile pieces, which are a little bit annoying to align the first time around, but it does that for the scaling, and I much prefer that to sticker applications. I think that's done much nicer. As you can see, I didn't try to get everything perfect here because as soon as you touch it, things are going to get misaligned a little bit. And no matter how close to perfect you get it, folks will want it to be even more perfect still. So I just didn't stress about it too much. It does come with the two bombs here, technically they're grenades, right? They're hand grenades. The hand actually works really well the way that's set up around these. Of course, you don't have to have them on there. Just pop that right on off. It's not supposed to include that piece right there, I guess. I guess you could leave that there. That could be a thing, but you're supposed to remove the stud as well. But these recolored, once again, these finger pieces that they've been making good use of, I think continue to be made good use of. They recolored them here into the green, and the joint has for the wrist has plenty of range of motion. You see they recolored that piece as well, the modified 2x2 plate with the toe ball coming out the end of it with the extra length. Lots of range of motion there. The elbow, well, the forearm is very short, which is a little bit awkward to me, but works the same way as normal. Doesn't give you full extension there. Once again, with more of the fully built up detailing for the sides of the arm, recolored green. I don't know if that was recolored for this particular release, but it's a relatively new thing. I mean, the piece isn't even that old. The updated piece isn't that old. The socket piece there, the kind of bionicle style, but brick based. And then here with the green shoulder pads, which are not as high up relative to the shoulder joint itself as the first ones of these. They did improve them a bit, but it's still a little bit awkward when you see that gap in there and you see that it's not just musculature that's attached down here. It's the actual main shoulder joint itself. It's not that bad, but it's not the best. This also has waist articulation and a full 360 degree of spin for that, which is useful. And then I think the face is actually done pretty well on it. I think the sculpt works out well for it, and I think that the graphic design work is very good. The chin is an interesting decision. Too bad about the coloring there. You got a little bit of gap, but from most angles you don't see that too much. But the requirement to use the gray here definitely takes away from it. I think if this didn't have to be gray, if they would lean into the fact that those things are not actually color locked. Very, very few Lego pieces are actually color locked. Most of them that are considered to be officially color locked will be changed over time, and you'll see this over time. They just don't talk about it. If enough designers have a strong enough, or an IP partner has a strong enough objection to the color staying the same as it was. But this one's staying the same as it was, and it does take away. The rest of the build of the head, I think, again, just totally makes sense. It's just that one color that's off. Otherwise, for what it is for the medium, I'm satisfied with this personally. And this one does have a well-placed ball joint for the neck. Can't really ask for all that much more range of motion, all things considered here. I guess turned all the way to the side, you get that limitation, but turned not quite all the way to the side, it's still pretty good. So, you're able to really get some expression out of this, and especially being able to tilt it like that, that's really useful. For a villain character, especially. Around the back, it's covered up. It doesn't have a whole lot of anti-studs showing. So no big deal there in my personal opinion. And for the legs, which I didn't show articulating, well, you've just got full back, a fair bit of the way forward, not all the way, but you can start to get some more range of motion there. It's not too bad. Not too bad. And then the kneecap is able to fold back in to help cover the joint that's there. So rather than seeing that, you see that, or rather than seeing that, you see that. That's good. Yeah, it's not too bad. I really wish that you could get just a little bit more flex out of the knee, but ultimately, this is about as tall as this whole thing can get. It's already starting to get a little bit flimsy with the standard friction of these ball joints. So more articulation would start to introduce other problems as well. It's nice to have the ability to shift this side to side as well. A little bit of turning in there, just a little bit of that. So I think you can get decent things out of it. And this does have the Technic pin holes on the base to connect to the glider securely. I don't know why I thought that the glider was bigger in pictures than it actually is. It's satisfying in its size, but it's definitely undersized relative to the figure. It doesn't bug me too much, but I don't know. I just had a little bit of a gap between expectation and reality there. The use of these Technic pieces here is perfect because it allows you to cover quite some distance, keep it nice and thin. And, as long as they got the right color there, I think that works out well. You can also bring these up and you can kind of work with that a little bit, bending things around for some slightly more dynamic poses. Use the figure, as long as most of your weight is on the lower joint, you can use the figure, kind of move some center of gravity off to the other side, use the figure to pull up one of the other, or the other wing. You can also adjust the angles of these here, the tips here, a little bit. And otherwise, I think the build of it is satisfactory, at least. It's not bad, just wish it was a bit bigger relative to the figure. And here's an example of what I mean by shifting the center of gravity off to the side so that you can lift one of the little winglets up, so you can get some interesting poses out of this, I think. It's never gonna really compete with nothing from Lego is ever going to fully compete with proper action figures and models and statues and things as far as realism is concerned and level of detail. But for something that is made of just Lego pieces, this is pretty dynamic and has, I think, really good range of motion and usefulness. You can be a little bit creative with it, figure out some things there. I think that you are given the tools to do interesting stuff with this. And I really don't think that I could ask for much more, again, given the medium that's being used for this. It's just such a limiting thing. So, well, I did not think you'd be able to lean back that much. Starting to get into the danger zone there with center of gravity, but yeah, it actually has a good amount of stability too with the extra extension back here, these extra kind of heels on the base of it. So that's better than I expected. That was kind of the worst balance that I got out of it to date, just kind of playing around with seeing what it could do. All right, yeah, pretty good. These are the only leftover pieces and there's no sticker sheet for the set. Again, this was $35 US. It's 38 euros for some reason. That's worse. 32 pounds UK and $45 Canadian. Yeah, which comes to a little bit less than the US price, both before tax. I think is definitely fair and actually represents some pretty good value for Lego these days. And also, for Lego in general, and also just relative to this particular line here. I do feel like you get more with this set and you pay more, but you also get more and it feels fair to me. Is this a great theme? Is it a practical theme? In my opinion, not particularly. You just get so much more play value for a younger kid, especially who's going to be really hands-on with it. If you just get a regular action figure, just get a supersized, larger sized action figure, or even a smaller one, you just can be more rough with those because ultimately, these things are going to start to be all misaligned and everything. They're not going to be aligned right in the first place. These things can fall off and stuff. Yes, you can put them back, but as a toy, I don't feel like this is the way to go. If these things sell great, I might be wrong, but I just feel like they're not as good of toys as they are display pieces. And I don't think they're that good of display pieces for fans of these franchises, unless specifically you're a big fan of Lego. I feel like this just meets a very specific intersection point on a Venn diagram, and I think it meets that pretty well. Again, I don't think that things can be done much better for a Lego set that is intended to be easily built by even younger folks and folks who are not master builders, even assemblers. It's got the durability, and it can be played with. It's not falling apart immediately, not by any means. And it has some articulation. It just does have to make a lot of compromises, partly because of the system, the Lego system, and partly because of just physics. This is tall and solid, especially the body. There's a lot of weight in it. And these ankles they're working, they're still working, but they're kind of at the edge of what they can do. So again, don't know. There's something else that I want to say, but I don't know how to quite put it to words. All in all, this is very good for what it is. But is what it is that good? I'm not so sure about that. More of a subjective call on that one. But hey, if it sells, so be it. Thank you for watching. Those are my thoughts for now, though, and I'll talk to you again soon.